Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jenny's Biblical Messages. Today, I want to talk about when God moves you. Sometimes it's going to be very apparent that He moved you, and sometimes you're going to look back and say, wow, that was all God. So I'm going to give you an example of both of those. The first one comes from Genesis 12. We're going to read 1 through 7, and it's the call of Abram. The second one I'm going to tell you is my own personal story about how God moved me. So in Genesis 12, the call of Abram, the Lord had said to Abram, Abram, God changed his name to Abraham. And Abram was married to Sarai, who he changed her name to Sarah. So we're talking about Abraham and Sarah, the father, the person that God moved. So this is the beginning of this. And at this time, his name was, his name was Abram. So the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. And you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. All the people on the earth will be blessed through you." So that's the Abraham that we know in the Bible. So Abram went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Lot was Abram's nephew. Abram was 75 years old at this time when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran. So he's taking everybody with him. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abraham traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Morah at Shechem. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring, I will give you this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. So Abram built the altar to the Lord so he could praise and worship the Lord. And that's where he stayed. They went to a place, a completely different place that was not his. They went from everything that they knew, and they went to somewhere new only because God told them to. They listened to God, and then they obeyed him. And when you have a relationship with God, he tells you what to do. Sometimes he tells you when you don't have a relationship with him, but he's setting you up. So 4 years ago, exactly 4 years ago, of August 21, I moved to Florida. So remember 2020? 2020 was a mess. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it here. It really changed my life. 2020 did. And what looked like a disaster in the moment ended up being God's complete blessing. So I want you to think about that too. In 2020, I had an engagement that I had broken off. My parents had a business, that I had a job, that literally the new owner came in and fired me. So I was out of a job. My children were growing up. My youngest child was a senior in high school, and he was off doing their own thing. They were off doing their own things. I wasn't like this mom anymore to these young kids. I didn't have a support system in my life, although he was a bad support system, but he was there. That's another story for another time. But I all of this that I knew for a very long time, that made me who I was, because I was being made in my image. I was living off of who I thought I was at that time. It all was destroyed all around me. I became depressed. I laid in bed, I don't even know for how many days. Like, I would get up and do things, yeah, but I would just go straight back to bed. I had no zeal for life. I had nothing. So at this time, my parents decided they were going to move to Florida, and they moved to the east side of Florida. And after some, what I thought was thinking of this on my own and doing this on my own, I talked to my children and I said, look, I feel like I have been just run over by a dump truck this year, and I need to change something. Are you okay if I move to Florida? Yes, Mom, we know you've been through a hard time. Yes, we are okay with you moving. That's what they said in the moment. But one of them said, I think it would be best if you move. I told them that I liked the Gulf side, that I just felt so much peace and I felt closer to God here. I knew I felt closer to God over here from the couple of times that I had been here. And they said, we would prefer you to move over closer to Papa and Nanny, so that when we come to visit, we're all together. And I debated about that, but I was like, you know what, you're right. And that's what my kids want. That will be easier for me. That's what I'll do. So in July of 2021, I sold my home. And in August of 2021, I moved into my parents' house for a month because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I just moved. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a house. I didn't have all that. I was going to find that once I came down here. So I start, filling out my resume and sending it out to anywhere and everywhere, and I didn't even know. Well, I ended up getting a job here in Naples. And it's funny because I got a place to live. I got all settled here. I got this job, and I hated it. And I was only there for like 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, now I'm here. I don't have a job. I don't have anything. I mean, I had money from selling my house, so I was okay for a little bit. I wasn't okay for a long period of time, but I just did these things one after another, and dated this person that was horrible, and I just was like moving through life, and then all of a sudden one day, and I did not do this on purpose, I walked into a church called Grow Church. And I was unsteady with it until January. But in January of 2022, I became steady in that church, and went every week and got in a group and did all these things. And I started seeing how things were changing in my life. Every job I got down here was awful. But every job made me learn something about myself, made me learn something about other people. I had been in the Midwest. I had been in a family business. I had been with my family my whole life. And I got up and I moved by myself here with my dogs. That's what I moved with. I had 2 dogs. And I remember people telling me how courageous I was for doing it. And I didn't feel courageous. I just was moving. I just was surviving. I didn't feel courageous at all. But as I look back on that, if God didn't move me in each one of those steps, I would not know him and have the relationship that I have with him now. I am convinced with that. If I would have stayed where I was, with the people that I was with, doing the things that I was doing, I would be worse off right now than I was when I moved. But because God put his hand in it, and because without even knowing it, I was obeying him. When I look back, I was obeying him. I didn't even know I was obeying him. But then I learned how to do all of that. And I learned to make my life be for him. And now that my life is not for myself, now that it's for him, it is 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. I am healthier than I've ever been. I am joyful. I am not happy on circumstances anymore. I have joy deep down in my heart. I have a nice home. I have a great job. I have friends that would do anything for me. These aren't going out and drinking friends. These are friends that we go through life together. Because I did something that I didn't even know. God did not come down to me like he did to Abram and say, Jenny, you need to move to this land where I'm going to show you who I am. He didn't do that. I would have thought this is crazy. I didn't have the faith. I didn't have that then. I was a believer. I even went to church all the time. But I wasn't the same person. I was a lukewarm Christian. I was a Christian that just walked through the motions, but didn't understand what was happening in my life. God moved me. And he's moving you. He is moving you. Listen to him. If you feel the urge that you need to do something and you don't know what that urge is, and it's good, it's for the good. If it's for the bad, it's the devil, so you got to discern. But if it's for the good, and you feel this urge, it is him. He is talking to you. He is saying, I have something better for you. Even you watching this video, this is a sign that he has something better for you. Not many people watch my videos, so if you are watching it, he has a sign for you. I urge you to pray to him, to talk to him, to ask him, what are you doing? What does he want for your life? Does he want you to pack everything up and go to a land where you can know him better? Does he want you to even pack up and go to a different church where you can know him better? What does he want from you?